After a shaky start to Stage 4, the Philadelphia Fusion found their footing with 2 convincing wins in Week 2.
The Philadelphia Fusion finish it in OT.
Led by superstar damage duo Carpe and EQO, last year's grand finalists now have a chance to send a message by taking down the top team in the league.
Under pressure, Carpe. Whoa, what a shot from EQO as well.
The Vancouver Titans were brought back down to earth last week, getting swept by a team that has long been out of the playoff picture.
Zip him up, boys! The Titans are absolutely done!
But with a win against the Fusion, the Titans will be crowned Pacific Division champions and a top 2 seed in the season playoffs.
Can they do it? Can they get that win today?
When these 2 teams clash, it's bound to be electric. Fusion, Titans, match of the week.
It's the end of another week of Overwatch League action, which means that the match of the week is upon us once more. The Philadelphia Fusion have quite the meal on their plate today, Matthew, taking on the Vancouver Titans. Both of these teams are trying to secure safe passage into the playoffs, or in Philly's case, at least the play-in.
Yeah, Vancouver's looked really shaky during the stage. Philly, they've done the normal Philly thing of being up and down. I mean, take a look at the season standings. You see the Vancouver Titans sitting up at the top. They're winning here today. They lock up that Pacific Division. Philly, this is also an important game for them. You win this, you get to that 15 wins, which would secure that top 12.
Locking up the Pacific Division for the Titans is an important goal. It's going to smooth their way through the playoffs. It makes it much easier for them, or at least they don't have to stress as much as some of the other teams trying to get into those grand finals.
I tell you what though, Philly I feel like has an opportunity, or had an opportunity at this stage, to get into the top 6 with the Spark struggling. They play a ton of Game 5s, and they have a lot of tough losses. The most recent one to the Paris Eternal. They also lose, I believe, Chunky Hunters in a Game 5.
3 map 5 losses.
Yeah,
Paris Eternal, I think this one really hurt them. This is probably a match you go into as Philly thinking, Paris aren't really even in consideration for the playoffs. This should be a walkover for us, and the looks on their faces really tell the whole story. Well, a team that's been frustrated by many results like that recently.
I mean, they know they lose those Game 5s to the Paris Eternal and some of the other teams they've lost to on the stage, that it makes a game like this against the Vancouver Titans even that more important. With the Titans, although struggling, you still don't want to have this be a must-win scenario.
It is an interesting time to be a Vancouver fan as well, because your team, which was 20 wins, 0 losses, only dropping 1 of the Valiant earlier on, got smashed by the Washington Justice. Washington look like they have a really good understanding of how the game is played right now, and it definitely felt like Vancouver forced themselves to play very specifically Reaper May. Obviously, they went up against the London Spitfire after that game and had a lot of difficulty to win that as well. They did take it away though, which is important. It definitely seems like the Vancouver Titans have forced themselves to change their style to, to eat an L here or there, to at least try and make sure they understand how the game's played right now.
I think the Justice loss, looking back on it, is a brutal loss. They lose 4-0, but I think you can make an argument that the Justice in this meta are like a top 3 team. I think that's probably like you can make an argument for like 1 or 2, I think, with how they played, but I think at least top 3. The London game, I think it goes down to the wire, watching it back. London kind of gave a lot of those, made a lot of mistakes. Right? Like they gave it over to Vancouver, where I'm really interested to see how they bounce back here against Philly. Although they do win the London game, didn't really feel like a win.
Locking up that Pacific Division spot is important for Vancouver, but for their opponents, they just want to be in the mix again. They want to get themselves to playoffs once more, so let's welcome them to the stage. It is the Philly Fusion. Philly. The Titans will be going up against a team that may be not as dominant as they were in Season 1. Philly were a second-place team in all of Season 1. They were at the Grand Finals. They looked dominant up until London just washed over them. A London Spitfire that was on a hot streak of their own. They still want to be in the conversation. They still want to be in the picture. A win here will at least guarantee them top 12, but outside of that, there's a lot of work for this roster to do to get up ship shape.
And I think you really feel good about this roster if you're a fan of them because of the damage dealer combo of Carpe and EQO. I think with the rest of the roster, it's obviously the same one that went to the Grand Finals last year. You're still kind of questioning like how do these pieces work together. But I think anytime you have Carpe and EQO on the same team, if they're both clicking on all cylinders, you can beat just about anybody.
And their opponents went from Sad Boys going up against the Justice to Mad Boys managing to come back against the Spitfire. Let's walk into the stage, the Vancouver Titans. Slime to lead the way for this team. Twilight back in the roster. Obviously a short bout of sickness. He's now returned as a mainstay. And that's Min Su in the middle of the pack as they walk up. A player we haven't seen very much off this stage. A real staple for the Titans when Zarya was in vogue.
This is going to be a very different look here for the Titans early on. And well, we'll dive a little bit deeper into it, but they'll have Stitch in the lineup instead of Hurek. So we saw this in the last series they played. Hacksaw will stay in. Bumper in the main
No
team.
Janu.
No Janu. So Min Su will be playing in that off-tank role, which he played a lot of Zarya earlier on when you can have 3 tanks, 3 supports. We have not seen him since then, and he has not played a ton of Roadhog or D.Va.
Yeah, maybe there was one point where he played some D.Va up until this point, at least in the Overwatch League. Sure, Professor Wolf will be able to elucidate on that for us, but either way, how do they use him here? You have to think, you have to wonder that, you know, you might be on that off-tank role.
4 minutes total, 4 minutes, 22 seconds, and 15 seconds is D.Va through the season this far. So this will be a very interesting night. You wouldn't expect him to play something like odd like a Wrecking Ball because Janu usually plays that, or if Bumper doesn't play it in their lineup. So I actually expect him to come out and play Roadhog. I think that's probably what you're going to see. We saw the Boston Uprising this week. Didn't play RCK. They played Blood in that off-tank role. Damage Dealer playing the Roadhog. So we can jump into the map set here. Presented by Toyota. It'll be Busan, Hanamura, Blizzard World in Route 66 for the map set today.
No real buggy maps in the list for the Titans. We will take them each as they come and sort of discuss these teams' records on them. I do want to say this though. Min Su was either #1 or #2 in many Zarya stats over the course of the league. So if you're a Titans fan, maybe watching more from this stage than prior, you may not know much of him. Instrumental in the Titans even having 23 wins and 2 losses in the first place. So Busan is a map that performs a little bit better for the Titans. Our control map to start things off. They're 5-2.
And when you talked about best Zaryas in the league, yeah, you kind of mentioned it was just really Sinatra or Min Su. I mean, they were both that good on the heroes. So like Min Su had been on the Roadhog early on. I wonder if they decide to try and run the Zarya here.
Zarya in this meta?
That'd be really interesting to see them try and do it.
Oh, Matt, this would be fun for you to break that. Wait, are they going back to Beyblade? They need the Mei. Well, we are one step closer back to our Beyblade meta.
They're going to play the Orisa with a Zarya here, which is really interesting. You don't have like the offensive capabilities of like a Roadhog, let's say, but how are you going to put down some pressure here if you're the Zarya? It's interesting. You're getting a lot of charge, just doubling the Mei as the Mei gets aggressive.
I mean, a consistent source of damage for sure. Min Su peppering away at the shields that Sada were desperately trying to put up one after another, and Min Su mechanically strong in this role, able to get a decent amount of charge here. Yes, it's not going to be as high charge as in the 3-3 meta, but still, it's another big threat to D.Va, man. It's another hero that D.Va can't shut down with Defense Matrix.
And it's also, if you were to have Philadelphia Fusion switch over to a Roadhog, you have the Mei Wall to break up the Hull Hook combo. You also have Zarya Bubble to protect anybody who gets hooked on in. So maybe it allows you to use your Mei Wall a little bit more offensively to split players off. That'll be a supercharger here from Bumper on the point. That'll be a Graviton Surge that goes down as well.
It's back!
You can just fortify and get out of this, though.
Yeah, Min Su gets taken down there. Poco finding 2 quick kills. The Blizzard even committed to that one by the Titans. Can they bring it back? It's like Stitch and Carpe finding something. Stitch went for a bit of a desperation death blossom, Matt. Soundberry even being committed to this fight. The Titans really want to hold the point for as long as they can. So much so, they're expending some of these key support ultimates. In fact, both of them are down the drain, and Bumper just switched to Reinhardt.
Yeah, and he always seems like in the last-ditch scenario switches over to the Rein. We've seen him do this on a lot of points thus far, so they've gone Rein Zarya now here towards the end. I don't know if they're going to stay on this. As Philly's still trying to flip this point. Nice Zarya bubble there from Min Su on the Slime, just trying to keep him alive, but he ends up falling, and now Philly finally takes the point, but that went from about 20% all the way up to 50 there for the Titans.
Bumper the switch back now to Orisa.
He's still staying on the Zarya.
Min Su at 40%. He's already used 1 Graviton Surge, mind you. And perhaps, I mean, it is difficult, right? Because both Sato and Carpe aren't too bothered about Graviton Surge. Poco could potentially eat it up, so it's much harder to play Zarya in this environment. Love to hear what the expert desk has to say about this, but for now, Supercharger being placed down. Everyone on the Philly Fusion is going to be hitting a little bit harder as a result of that. And a Coalescence The wall can block it for the most part, and Haxal is forced to go into ice block. Min-Soo finds Neptuno though. The Lucio's out of the picture. EQO tries to lob that Blizzard in here. Bumper should be able to walk away though, using Fortify. That's nasty. Oh, Stitch down to a sliver of health. EQO sends 2 icicles his way, and Poco finishes off the kill. Almost nonchalant as EQO getting those shots in there.
So now the Philly Fusion have surpassed the percentage of the Vancouver Titans. They have a self-destruct and Death Blossom to use here. The Titans still staying on the Orisa-Zarya combo. The bubbles from Min-Soo, you're not really going to use them on a bumper because Orisa doesn't take a ton of damage with the shield up time. You're going to use it onto like the Mei and the Reaper as they go in, and the supports if they get dove by the enemy Reapers. So see how he decides to use his Graviton Surge though.
Fight initiated with the Coalescence from Boombox here. Min-Soo trying to stay out of line of sight as much as he can, but he's being focused out. Carpe found him, and he's the Death Blossom to follow up. He's found Slime. Bumper is felled by EQO, and this is not looking good at all for the Titans. Carpe has to chill out for a moment there on top of the ice wall, but now the chase is back on. Poco frozen briefly, Stitch forced to back away with Wraith Walk, and Carpe knows he's on his way out.
The Titans do flip the point here though, Mitch.
64% and counting for Vancouver. Now they have some ultimates to try and sort us down a little bit longer. Stitch gets 2 with the Death Blossom. Poco forced to abscond to the high ground, and he can't do much now. He's too low. He will be chased down, and
Philly had an advantage there. They backed off the point and they flipped it over Vancouver. They get from 50% up to now 80 as they're going to be in one fight territory. Bumper on the Reinhardt again, and they have another Graviton Surge.
did they throw this away getting off the point? Now there's a Graviton Surge, like you pointed out. This wall can be held. There's a Mei wall that can go up. Min-Soo bubbles himself, trying to get above the Blizzard, but he can't escape. Zato chases him down. Now we transition to the point. Coalescence from Boombox, who's trying to keep Poco standing. Sato puts a barrier up to assist with that. Bionic Orb thrown in aggressively by Boombox, and it works out. EQO gets rid of Stitch. Haxal has a Blizzard here. He might have no choice but to use it. First, he goes into Ice Block, stalls out a little bit longer. Now it's 99% for the Vancouver Titans. Haxal wants to use his Blizzard only when the rest of his team is there to capitalize, but they may not have a choice. The flip is back for Philly.
You back up, you have Grav, Blizzard, and Coalescence here for the Titans. Just this self-destruct from Poco. He's been holding on to it for such a long time. That'll be the Coalescence from Twilight to open things up.
Vancouver looking to finish around here and now. He's the Graviton Surge. And you can see Carpe can just walk straight out of it. Sato could have done the same had he been caught inside of it. Self-destruct over the top, but Bumper is down, and the main tank for the Vancouver Titans is missing. Stitch is very low on health right now. You can see up the top, and Carpe finishes the job with the Death Blossom. Poco not done here yet, though, trying to chase Haxal down. The Blizzard not a factor in this fight as EQO and Carpe combined for 4. And Philly Fusion takes the first round of Busan. The Titans try something a little bit different, it's safe to say. It just didn't quite work out.
Yeah, and I think you see the Graviton Surge not as effective as it was during stages 1 through 3. You can just Wraith Walk out of it as Reaper. You can Fortify out of it there with the Orisa, so Moira can also fade out of it, so a lot of options to get away from it. I'm more interested to see if they stay on the Zarya yet again, which it looks like they are, and then as the series progresses, does he stay in? Do they commit to Zarya on more of these maps? Is this something they've tried that has worked in scrims? It's a very interesting, because we've seen Zarya playtime through the league just drop through the floor after Goats has been gone with the 3-3 meta now.
And it's reasonable to expect Min-Soo would play the Roadhog here. He definitely has a place in this composition. Zarya is more of a head scratcher. Still, the Titans want to commit to this course of action.
And you just don't feel as threatened as the opposing team with Zarya on the other side than Roadhog. You know there's no opportunity for like hold hook combos. The other team, they can play the D.Va. You can have the D.Va just eat up the halts that come through, right? You know, D.Va really good at going towards the backline. Not really a ton of backline pressure from the Titans, but now that D.Va in place.
The backline of Philly Fusion living dangerously. Boombox was down just a small amount of health, but he's able to use the Coalescence now and get that healing back away. Look who's positioned up the top of the drum. Twilight sat up there as Moira, able to give a lot of healing back to his teammates while essentially being out of scrutiny's range. Poco tries to get away though, and Neptuno could be in trouble. Nice halt there from Bumper. Now EQO takes his position up on the pedestal, but can't find any kills. Min-Soo able to clean up there, and maybe if this Zarya gets rolling, we'll see more value accrued by the pick.
I mean, I guess that is the point. Like, if you can get him charged up, then you can start to make plays. With you have the great healing of Moira, you have the Lucio speed boost to get you forward. And then Reaper May, very tanky, Zarya as well. You're kind of creating something that kind of mimics what you just kind of played in terms of 3-3, like with some extra tanky players out on the field. So
some players will lean into the resurgence of damage dealers right now. It looks like the Titans are just going to lean into anything that resembles 3-3, which they dominated at. Supercharge thrown down here again. Axel's able to pick off Neptuno only, and Carpe spent this entire time with his teammate's ice wall in his face. He can't really contribute to the fight there, and it must be frustrating now. He just has to jump on in, stall out. Another unsuccessful foray to the point for the Philly Fusion. That's a weird element, right? That May wall is quite interesting now because you can kind of mess things up for teammates who have other plans. It's not exactly something you can discuss. Hey, please don't put this ice wall in my way because I want to flank.
You kind of have to just use it.
Yeah.
As need be.
It's a greater good thing.
The grab really doesn't do much here. You're really just kind of waiting for this Blizzard and the Death Blossom that's going to come.
Hey, you can get Neptuno.
Yes. I mean, can you enforce sound barrier with the grab right now? Because like, who are you going to get in it that's actually going to have a risk of dying? Let's see how they play around it. He's lost all his energy. Let's see how he tries to build it back up.
Solminsu back behind the pillar. Bumper gets the projected barrier this time.
You get nothing off of the barriers on the bumper.
Yeah. Wall comes up as well, so that was also a thing. Philly blocked themselves away from the Titans. There it is, Poco in the backside though. Getting Slime and Solminsu was a good start. Sis trying to make back what was lost. He finds 2 quick kills, but Poco descends and finishes the job. The point's still under the control of the Titans though, and the Fusion need to make the play here. Poco eventually pushing down Bumper, but at great expense of his own health. That is recovered though, and the store continues. Twilight now sitting here behind the barrier. Finally is taken down. Philly finally have a chance to take the point back, but they are in one-fight territory, Matt.
Vancouver gets it to 99%. You saw the difference in the off-tank ultimates there. Poco throws in his self-destruct. There's a new shield placed down by Bumper, so didn't have an opportunity to place another one. 2 players dying for the Titans. Nobody falls in this Graviton Surge that comes down as Carpe comes back, moves away from Reaper. Play the McCree now.
Carpe not worried about any hooks coming in here. Knows that that's not a risk. In fact, there aren't many things that threaten him directly. Oh, Bumper! He tried to put down the supercharger, but he's taken down by Carpe.
There's no defense matrix for Bumper. Like, you can't, like, once, like, Carpe starts to burn that shield down and put some damage around him, if the bubble's gone from Sominsu, there's no matrix, there's no way to save him. You're not going to be able to pump enough heals in him, survive through those headshots of McCree.
While I am loath to write off this composition from the Titans, it definitely feels and looks suboptimal. Solminsu on that Zarya has done a decent amount of damage, but nothing that's over the top. Here's a supercharge put down. EQO forced to ice block immediately at the start of the fight. And Carpe now with the Deadeye. He's going to try and let it go from long range. Nothing from that one. But it's fine because Poco and Neptuno have been in the thick of things, and that's the flash headshot combo.
Well, here's also the other downside for the Titans. You're not really getting a lot going in these fights. They're going pretty quickly in favor of Philly, although you still are in the lead in terms of percentage. But you're not able to build towards Supercharger, you're not able to build towards Grab, so you're pretty much down to ultimates, like both your tank ults in a way. So, see the bubble, Sominsu uses one onto himself, but you see Bumper just getting chunked down. Yeah. Can't throw a shield down because then you're going to move past it, and you don't have a matrix, and you don't have a bubble, so there's nothing really he can do.
Orissa's inflexibility is really being capitalized on right now. Bumper puts a shield down, and he needs to wait before he can put a new one up. Philly just keeps mowing them over. Sound barrier now for the Titans. Neptuno reciprocates. The fight is on in the middle of the map. Neptuno will try and keep a safe distance here. Carpe also wants to do the same. Needs to connect some big headshots here. That's the Blizzard thrown down, but Carpe is safe. Another Deadeye for Carpe. Gonna try and force the Titans out of line of sight. Again, nothing gained from the Deadeye. Now he gets halted in, straight into the Death Blossom. And here come the Vancouver Titans now. They started the fight at 99%. They're looking to finish it there too. D-Super Poco, he goes sky high and eventually is brought down to earth. Sade will try and stall the point out, but there's not enough time, and the Titans... Matt, there's a pervasive feeling that the Titans got a little bit fortunate there.
Well, I mean, they ended up getting their Blizzard, the Death Blossom towards the end, and they engage with a sound barrier. They do a nice job when their Blizzard comes down. They avoid the Deadeye from Carpe and also the self-destruct from Poco. Those 2 big ultimates get nothing for the Philly Fusion. then you're able to work your way back onto the point. So what does Philly do here? Do you stay on McCree? It looks like they're going to go over to Reaper yet again, try and get point control. If they lose point control, maybe they can try and bring the McCree back. I thought the McCree was pretty effective towards the end.
Yeah, I think, you know, not unlike Widowmaker, it's quite important to have point control before playing some of those riskier heroes. It was very effective at pressuring Bumper, but you can see still how risky it is playing McCree. You get halted in once randomly, you just die on the edge of a Reaper's Death Loss and moves like 10 feet away from
And Sominsu right now is sitting at 42% average energy, which you kind of compare that to, you know, where we were in the 3-3 meta. It's like not great, but also this is like more in line with what Zarya was before 3-3, back in like, you saw a lot of 2-2-2. So we're seeing Zarya getting the percentage now here. That'll be an early pick to pass on the EQ.
See what Sominsu's doing? Every time a tank, whether it's Sado, more often Poco comes into view, straight onto him, laser him down, pressure the D.Va out of position so Stitch can get maximum value.
It does give them some space, putting pressure on the Orisa or on the D.Va with the Zarya. If you can get Zarya charged up, obviously the D.Va's defense matrix doesn't do anything to them, so you can put a lot of pressure, maybe force even ice block if you can locate the Mei. It's a very interesting strategy we haven't seen any other team use thus far.
I feel like the combination, also obviously, as you may well know, D.Va can't stop Mei from freezing her. So that's two heroes that defense matrix just can't interact with, and maybe that is what the Titans are doing. Maybe they're trying to press on Poco a little bit there, make his life a bit harder. Sado though, well, not loving life either, and Carpe gets walled off the rest of his team. The Titans getting rolling. This is what they did at the start of the last round. They got a really good buffer, and that's how they won it.
The comp looks good for the Titans when you can get Sominsu charged up on the Zarya, and then you get aggressive behind it. The issue is when he comes into the fights and he's not able to generate charge, he's not really putting down any damage. Graviton Surge, not a great ultimate with some of the heroes that Philly's running, but right now doing a nice job. The Vancouver Titans pass 50% on the point.
Fact is, Sominsu is, you know, got about as much damage as Huxile does. They're up at about 10k. So, you know, talk about average charge, it's still fine damage-wise. There's Stitch wanting to go in. Sound barrier now means he can hang around the fringes a little bit longer and pressure down, but it's been felled by EQO. That must have been a nutty right click from EQO to take him down. Stitch wants to get in here. Doesn't fancy using the teleport to do so, though. It's a little bit telegraphed. Carpe, he's got his eyes on you. Carpe gets away. The sound barrier saves his life, and now the Graviton is eaten by Poco, and the Blizzard comes up for Philly Devil Fusion. They have hit the jackpot. Stitch only finds 2 there, but everything went right for Philly at the start of that engagement, and that's why they come out on top.
Yes, Vancouver uses some ultimates to extend it to get to 91%. You still are in this one-fight territory, though, for the Titans. Just one fight needs to go their way to take map number 1. Is Twilight will have the Coalescence. Maybe you open things up with that. Get aggressive behind it. You can force out maybe the self-destruct, get a D-Mech on the Poco.
EQO too close for comfort. He was out of position right in the face of the Titans. It's a 2-for-2 to start the fight, though, and Huxile has been dominating. 2 Coalescences out. Poco's still healthy, but can't get into. He wants to try and help out Sado as much as he can. That wall almost made it impossible. He can't protect Sado from the endothermic blaster, but it don't matter. Sado's fine. Stitch is now down, and the Philly Fusion might actually be able to hold on here, keeping the Titans out of position. But they had to use ultimates, Matt. That's the problem. Losing EQO early put an undue amount of pressure on them.
And they're lucky. It's a really nice halt set up there from Bumper to get the kill on EQO. It's just they're not able to capitalize on it as Philly holds on. They'll get above 50%.
Well, that is
percentage.
Carpe ran sliding down, so the Titans didn't have the ability to shift gears and speed onto their opponents.
So Axel have this Blizzard here. Do you want to use it at this part of the map? Do they want to get closer, try and force onto the point? What's the plan here with the Blizzard? Because you know EQO's plan is right now.
Boombox has to use Coalescence because Poco was about to get D-Mech there, and they need him. Oh, Axel! He wasn't ready for that. So much burst damage came out of it once. Not even have a chance to ice block. That supercharger really makes a difference, and that's effective for Philly. You spend that ultimate, fine. You know, you're not using 5, 6 ultimates to fight off the point, and now they're in a position. The Titans have to push into them. The Titans have to throw caution to the winds.
You know, it gives an opportunity for Philly that now they have their own Blizzard to throw down on the Titans. They can get aggressive behind it. That'll be a supercharger from Bumper. There'll be sound barrier as well from both teams.
I hear a Blizzard coming.
Both sides.
Working around the fringes here. He may well get frozen. He tries to bubble himself. Sado take it down. The Graviton Surge connects. It's connecting beautifully. With EQO out of the picture now, Blizzard didn't really find the mark. Carpe tried to drop down. A Death Blossom from Stitch to try and ward him off. Carpe, Drake walks out of it, now goes for one of his own. He gets one, but it's a traded kill. Now Neptuno has to try and stall out the point. Zato has arrived on the Wrecking Ball, and Boombox isn't too far away either, but Zato is immediately frozen. Neptuno immediately removed. Overtime ticking down, and Poco can't even touch the point. He's frozen as well. Map number 1 goes to the Vancouver Titans. After starting both of those last 2 rounds ahead, they let it get ahead of them. They managed to come back and claim in the final fight both times, keeping us on the edge of our seats.
Vancouver comes out with a really interesting strategy. So Min-Soo on the Zarya to open things up. They steal map number 1 here against the Philadelphia Fusion. Vancouver look good. See how they do it in map number 2 after this.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Twilight as an individual,
He's been the best flex support in the world.
the guy is an absolute freak of nature.
He is the new Jonak.
He is the heir to the MVP.
As far as I'm concerned, he already took the crown and title away from Jonak and is our new flex support god.
어느새 보니까 제가 점수가 높아져 있었는데 제가 이제 학교 끝나고 자고 있었는데 친구한테 전화가 오는 거예요. 어디 팀에서 이제 팀원을 뽑는다고 테스트 보라고 해가지고 그러게 해서 들어간 팀이 BK 스타즈였어요.
I think this kid is a grinder who basically got in there and worked like crazy.
But he never really got noticed for it, I feel like, when he was playing in Korea, because everyone was focused on Jonak.
Once he joined the Vancouver Titans, he rose fairly quickly, and he deserves his spot on the best team in the world.
And I think what Twilight does better than almost any other is he can play a crazy Zenyatta up there with the likes of Jonak.
He is the best Zenyatta in the world right now, and a lot of Jonak fans are really upset.
아무나 막 때릴 때 제일 재밌는 것 같아요. 머리 때리면 더 기분 좋고.
He's just a god at this role.
He's the personification of a support.
The reason Vancouver is as good as they are is because they're able to play with the absolute trust.
He is always there when his team needs him.
He is the backbone of this team.
I think Twilight is living up to the hype.
Without Twilight doing what he's able to do and having that consistent healing, Vancouver's an entirely different squad. He's the MVP of that team at the very least.
일단 제 주변 사람들이 제가 MVP 됐다고 들었을 때 굉장히 좋아하고 많이 축하해 줄 것 같아요. 특히 저희 어머니가 많이 좋아하실 것 같아서.
As a player overall is certainly one of the leading contenders for MVP.
He is my MVP pick.
Twilight can handle himself, and then he really makes his impact.
화이팅!
Cast your vote on Twitter using #OwlMVP and the player's battle tag, or during any remaining regular season broadcast on Twitch. Voting ends on August 25th, so let your voice be heard.
Yeah, Twilight has been so strong throughout the season, whether it be the Zenyatta, the Ana, now picking up the Moira. I definitely think he's been a crucial part of the Vancouver Titans' success thus far.
Yeah, and this is an important matchup for him, not only to secure that Pacific division title, but you've got an ex-teammate on the other side. You know, Carpe, Bunny, Twilight, all come from that BK Stars roster. Well, I mean, this guy, like, you know, it was talked about in that video, like, it's possible that he had already taken that crown away from, you know, unofficially, at least from Jonak. And now, at least, you know, you have an opportunity to cast your vote, like it said. So, you know, for the Team Mobile Overwatch MVP up on Twitter. So you vote for your finalists by using the hashtag, essentially, on the Twitch overlay, by the way. If you are watching us on Twitch, that is a way that you can vote for them. Or if you're not, if you're watching on Disney or something like that, you can head over to Twitter, use the hashtag OWLMVP, and then the player's battle tag. And that's how you get your vote in today.
And coming into this map as well, we have another Team Mobile MVP candidate coming in. So Janu actually subs in for Sominsu. So the Sominsu experiment on the Zarya does work out. They do get a map win, but going into map number 2 on Hanamura, you're not going to be playing as much as Zarya. So Janu will come in the game. He can play the Diva in the Roadhog.
Yeah, another MVP candidate comes back onto the roster here for the Titans. And yeah, the Zarya experiment, if we can call it that, looked pretty good. One has to wonder if it was just the Titans just being very, very good at team fighting and having a deep understanding of the game outside of meta.
I feel like it only kind of works in a game mode like Control, though, where you're just fighting. Or maybe it would work in like a 2CP, but I think like a Control definitely can make the Zarya work a little bit more often.
I love
push teams back.
Theory craft about it.
Yeah.
I'd love to sort of hear some speculation about like exactly what you want to do if it's just to pressure the Diva down. Hanamura is going to be our second map in the series. Now, if you're a fan of the Titans, if you're familiar with your players like Stitch and Huxal from the days of yore, you will be hoping to see a bit of Genji on this map. Now, that's not necessarily going to be the case. The Titans may just try and stick to this what we call meta approach that everyone's sort of playing instead of trying to leverage, you know, that Genji prowess. So don't be too disappointed here as the Titans come out the window.
Big differences here between these two teams is you have the Reaper for the Titans. You're going to have Carpe play the Hanzo for Philly Fusion, and then also Janu on the Diva, and then Poco going to be playing Roadhog. So Roadhog can connect with a lot of these halt hooks through the door. There's a halt hook combination on a Janu as Janu gets D-Mac.
Stitch gets in though. He actually found Boombox. Both supports are down for the Philly Fusion here. It's messy, but Bumper gets another one. Poco was taken down, and this is going to turn around. The Titans look like they started this so badly, but they managed to send the Assassins into the backline.
If I'm Carpe, I just look down the line.
Oh yeah, he is. No, Carpe's looking at his navel right now.
It's like, he's like, so I pick off one, Poco gets a hook, and D-Mix Janu,
please.
Everybody else just decides to die. Like, all right, cool. Thanks.
Please explain, team. The Titans, point A.
That is a very fast take for the Titans. Haxall just switched to the Doomfist, trying to get back in the fight. Knew they had a chance to win it. You know, go back to May. So looks like he's trying to get over the jump here.
Nice.
Bumper.
There it is.
Always a little scary.
Yes. They do it. Look at this. They get in.
On the May wall, it's not there in time, so everybody makes it over.
Yeah. Look at the high ground though. Carpe is above them. There are 4 players hit with biotic grenades. Haxall's able to shrug that one off by going to ice block, but Carpe, great positioning there. Gets up above them, just drops straight in. No need for smoke and mirrors, nothing fancy. And that will stop the Titans, but you are a little bit tilted, Matt, after losing point A so easily.
Well, you know, you have to end up using your Blizzard there for the Philly Fusion to be able to take that fight, which is good for the Titans because Haxall switched away from the May and then went back, so he ended up losing all of his charges. Boombox.
And you see that Janu went to try and protect his team from that with the defense matrix, but recently the effective range of D.Va's defense matrix outward from her mech has been reduced, and that is an example of something that would have been negated before D.Va's changes came online.
And then also in that first push, if you remember, Janu actually gets hit with a halt and then hooked in to Poco, which is usually, he was playing Roadhog at that time, which usually D.Va with the defense matrix able to eat up. It'll be a nano boost on a Carpe as the Death Blossom comes in. Oh,
he's crazy! He runs straight into the Death Blossom, comes out of his own Wraith Wall, gets hit by a couple ticks of it, and then Janu just walks up and gives him a smack across the ears. This is not what you want, Philly. It was such an admirable effort in the first map, but now this one seems like a bit of a cakewalk. Boombox tries to step up to the point, even thought about fading. No good, though. And the Vancouver Titans, it's a smirk on the faces of these gents. As Poco now drops onto the point, tries to use a pile driver. Adaptive shield works because there's so many people close by, but it doesn't protect him against the onslaught that follows. Sato eventually ground out, and the Titans blister through Hanamura. Oh my.
So that is a really fast offense on Hanamura. The Titans complete the map with 4 minutes and 5 seconds in the time bank. That is really fast, as Philly's defense was not good. We'll see if their offense is better after this.
Smell something burning? No?
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile. And by State Farm. Whatever life brings your way, State Farm is here to help life go right.
Cease your resistance.
Hanamura continues here. The Vancouver Titans have a very cushy 4 minutes and 5 seconds in their time bank after an attack that can only be described as scrappy, but it definitely feels like Philadelphia opened the front door for them and gave them the crown jewels without resistance.
Yeah, it was not a good defense from Philly, and I think it's kind of, you expect this team to excel in this type of meta, right? Where Carpe and EQO can play the damage dealers. They're not kind of forced onto the Brigitte or tanks as they were earlier on in the season, and it's just not developed. There's Stitch playing the Sombra here early on. Looks like he's just going to kind of scout for information.
This is, I mean, this is so clever. Doomfist hates dealing with Sombra in general. She can shut him down while he's sort of mid-air, mid-jump, and instead of heroically landing in these locations and banging out the opposition, he just sort of limply drops to the ground.
The Wrecking Ball too. Sato gets hacked behind enemy lines there. He also has very difficult times with Sombra.
Definitely feels like Stitch is the antithesis to a lot of what the Fusion are trying to do right now. Exo boots used by Slime and drop to the low ground. Can reposition up on top of that roof again if he needs to. They should see Carpe starting to teleport in. Boombox hooked in. Getting the Moira first. The slipperiest of all the heroes. Not a good sign for Philly. They're going to try and follow it up though. Carpe, okay, he's mad. He's got 2 important kills there. Stitch is aware that Carpe is behind him or nearby, but he's going for Poco. It was actually Neptuna that was harassing. Again, back and forth here, but looks like the Titans will be able to recover mid-fight and get the reinforcements this time.
Oh, Bumper does go on the chase, and he ends up falling here, but he does take down Carpe and Poco before that happens. You do have both supports come back now. for the Titans, but
that is bizarre from Bumper. This could be a struggle now. Philly have entrenched themselves quite far forward towards point A.
Well, let's see though, because you do have an EMP coming up. You could EMP this if you're stitched, just to get the fight win and secure the point.
EMP, that's a nasty one. 5 players, everyone from Philly who was in the vicinity gets hit with that. But do the Titans have the capacity to follow up on such a strong disabling ability? Well, Johnny gets nano boost here, so he's soaking up a lot of this damage, and Huxal is taken down by EQO. That's the point of the Doombeast. Get in, get out. The dirty work done quickly. Johnny has to go for a whole hog here, but was almost knocked off the map. Poco shuts down much of that damage, but Bumper's been able to get back onto the point here in position. He's forced away though, because Carpe is behind him, and this will be very quickly finished off on the tanks if Carpe gets in there. The Reaper has been persistent for most of this round.
Yes, I think that falls apart for the Titans when you lose Bumper on that first attempt rather late. The spawn advantage was to the Philadelphia Fusion. Let's see what they decide to do. Do you stay on the Doomfist here if you're Philly? Do you feel confident about the dive coming on against the Titans defense?
Poco is visibly gesturing to his teammates as he tries to articulate himself. Looks like the Philly Fusion are just trying to put together their next push here. No need for a May wall. Every one of those heroes has the mobility to get over the gap without assistance. Very convenient. The Titans, though, have had enough time to see this and hear this coming, so they're not too surprised by this. It's how Philly transition now off of this platform and just have to find some of those kills. EQO wants to play close here. A rocket punch! He nails Twilight! He didn't have a chance to respond! Stitch gets caught by Carpe, and that's a Death Blossom. Carpe a friendly wave, and now once again it's back to work. Good, honest work getting rid of those tanks in the back line. EQO drops down. This is looking much better from Philly, an attack that actually has some lethality to it. They will be behind Vancouver Titans in terms of time bank, but not by much. And this is definitely turning out to be the brawl that was promised. High ground goes Carpe. He'll drop down on anyone who tries to stall out, and Bumper comes in. Poco catches him though, and that is Philly managing to take point B. Now we have a game.
Two really nice pickoffs at the beginning of the fight. Carpe using a Death Blossom on his Stitch on one side of the map, and then EQO connecting on that big rocket punch on a Twilight. So you lose a lot of the healing there for the Titans as Philly finishes with 345.
More to come here on Hanamura. We head into extra innings as these two teams have an appreciable time break each. We'll see you in just a moment. Well, it would appear that both of these teams have demonstrated excellence when it comes to the attacking side of this map, being aggressive, a hallmark of both of these franchises, albeit very much in vogue at different times. Philly have had a quieter year than last. The Titans, though, we know they like to get aggressive, especially any team led by Bumper. Let's see how well they defend now that they kind of know what to expect from Philadelphia.
Well, you know, you do say Philly a little bit of a quieter year. They are like, you know, they have a bunch of game 5s this stage, and they're really only like 1 or 2 games out from like 6 being a guaranteed spot in the postseason, not having to play in the play-in. So
fair enough, but the record is close to 500.
Yes,
last year they were
strong,
much more dominant. I mean, yeah, I think they were, just on average, they were better as opposed to the other
I would agree, but
I mean, if by loud you mean a lot of game 5s in close matches, sure. You don't want to be that kind of loud though. You want to be clean. EQO taken down though. Stitch got the measure of him there, hacking the Doomfist, making it so that he could jump or punch away.
Yeah, it's a nice defense matrix there we saw from Janu as well, being able to protect Stitch, letting him put down some extra damage. Is this first fight go over the Titans is May, man. Like,
she is so nasty.
The slow, the self-heal, the wall to split players off. As Sato now switches over to Arisa, you'll have EQO play May, so going to have the May Reaper combo in play for Philadelphia. Stitch going to be playing that Sombra on the other side, so don't have that upfront damage of Reaper, but you have the EMP, which is crucial in scenarios like this.
Stitch lurking behind now. He is actually invisible to his opponents, even though we can see his outline. Revealed now, so starts to charge up ultimate. That's why he opts to do that here instead of trying to sneak in and get an assassination. EMP straight away. No subtlety about it whatsoever. Carpe, EQO, Sato all caught up in that one. And now Poco is frozen. Well, 2/3 of the Philly Fusion team get crowd controlled in some way or another. Not a great way for them to start the fight. Sato is in no position to be running away. Boombox can at least fade and prolong the potentially inevitable here because EQO is done.
I was wondering, I was like, if you reset quick, you get back before Hacksaw come back with Blizzard, but it looks like the fight goes a little bit too long. So you have some players on respawn here for the Philly Fusion. Hacksaw comes right back into the fight, so not able to take advantage of that pickoff on the main. Also, we just saw EMP used, but you get so much damage from Stitch after. He's already at 65% to another one.
Hacksaw also is good at freezing multiple targets at once. The endothermic blaster does actually cleave, so you can get multiple people with it, but Hacksaw also understands how long you need to focus one target down to freeze them, because if you stop early, they'll eventually recover and be able to move at normal speed again. So you notice that, up the top right there, on the Philly side, you'll be able to see when they're frozen with multiple people there without a blizzard. Trade though, Sato is down. Feel like now you just have to brawl it out on the point here. Yeah, use some ultimates. EQO, oh no! The blizzard goes straight into Janu's defense matrix, and then Hacksaw intercepts EQO with an icicle to the brain. Now a wall comes up and there will be no mercy for the Philly Fusion. They will not be able to escape. Not a good sign for Philly now. They got one tick, but with 45 seconds left and Vancouver still toting a veritable trove of ultimates.
Well, you don't have your own Blizzard, right? You're kind of banking on winning that fight. You use Blizzard, gets nothing, it gets right into the defense matrix of Janu. The other team is EMP plus Blizzard to use at the choke here. Oh, it's going to be brutal for Philly.
Philly fans are used to being put in suspenseful situations, but now it's time to hold on to your hats.
Have to go.
Oh, okay, moved away. Still 5 people caught by the EMP though. Neptuno tried to send him off course, but it didn't matter in the end. The range of EMP is just too great. And Neptuno, it's his just desserts. 7 seconds now left. There's really no one to contest here. Carpe's pushed forward on the Reaper. It's unlikely to let him out of this room though. Will he get to the point? He does make it to the point. Trigger overtime straight into Death Blossom. Poco catches Twilight out with a self-destruct, but Sato doesn't make it to the point. It has to be a tracer pick for EQO, using the blinks and added mobility to trigger overtime, and Boombox also attempts to do the same. Bumper though shuts the door in EQO's face, and Boombox is not much more successful than that. The Titans have figured out the Philly Fusion's attack strategy, and as a result, they hold them at the gates here on point A.
The offense from Philly there, it really kind of banked on EQO nailing that Blizzard, and when it gets eaten up by Janu,
that's it. It's over.
There's nothing really they can do after that. They do get about 53% percentage on the point, but still 4 minutes and 5 seconds for the Titans. With how good their first offense was, you expect them to be able to do this.
Titans have figured out a way to play the same game that everyone else does, and that makes me wonder, how many approaches do they have up their sleeve? They have the Zarya. You saw the stat, maybe you didn't see the stat that popped in at the start of Hanamura, but with the Zarya in tow on the previous map, the Titans out-damaged the Philly Fusion by quite a significant amount, so that consistent damage over the course of team fights was something the Titans also wanted. Or maybe it was just a side effect, but either way it was positive. Here, we will still see them stick with the same composition. Now, it's unlikely Philly are going to hand it over to them so easily this time around, so let's see how the Titans actually attack point A when it's not just given to them freely.
Well, Philly comes out and they play the Roadhog and the Hanzo yet again. They did a nice job. They were able to work 2 picks at the beginning of the previous fight with this, but then they lost everybody else virtually instantly, and it was because Stitch just teleported up to the high ground. Was able to take out both supports.
The ability for Reaper perch up on the high ground, brood for a moment, then drop down by surprise and get some kills. That Blizzard, so that teleport ability is becoming much more desirable than it was. It used to take much longer to finish teleporting, and you gave so much notice. Oh, I see. This is the angle. He can get up on top of there without really showing himself in that main choke. Stitch is in behind enemy lines now. Still,
just like last time,
an ill-fated kills. Yeah, Philly opens up the fight with 2 kills. Janu is low though. I think Philly might actually be able to hold on here. Stitch tries to get behind the shield. The wall is going to make it hard for him though. Bumper throws up a barrier just in time. And credit to the Titans, Matt. The fight goes wrong, but they still get out with 4 players alive instead of being completely wiped and giving Stitch all this ult percentage.
Still here.
I'm reaping
Okay. Sato turns around, he's like, wait a sec.
Not ideal. Sato turning around to deal with the Reaper now allows the Titans to walk through the door. Yeah, Sato does get Stitch. Credit to him, he's focused on his target. See Haxel there freezing two targets. Both Sato and Poco got caught by the Ice Beam. Sato's in deep trouble as they throw down the supercharger here, and a lot of healing is being dedicated to keeping this tank alive.
Twilight.
Sato though missing, finally brought down. Johnny with the focus in on that one though. Neptuno again. Oh, Doa's gonna love this bloodthirsty support action. Bringing back Sato after the fact, and Neptuno once again single-handedly showing why he's
uses
nasty.
Valkyrie, heals everybody up, and then kills both supports of the Titans. He gets Twilight in slime during that. Big play there from Neptuno. Carpe goes over to Doomfist to come back quicker.
2 minutes and 31 seconds. Oh, there it is, hold hook. They catch Johnny, the bigger target, maybe not the one they would have liked. Now Poco gets hold of back himself, he gets frozen or almost frozen down as Haxel blizzards, and you can see that blizzard is all about the point with a wall to block off the Philly Fusion. They lack options for getting into this fight, and Stitch is there. He's found four, two of them with a Death Blossom. Nobody can stop him right now. He will run Boombox down as well to make it 5 kills, and Twilight, well, cheekily enough, gonna get involved and get rid of Neptuno there. And that will do the job. The Vancouver Titans finally break in, and that'll make it 2-0 heading into the half.
A much different looking Vancouver Titans here today in our first half. You know, we saw them get swept last week by the Washington Justice. They have a close match against the London Spitfire, but they're making quick work of the Philly Fusion today. Up 2-0 at the half. You see the smiles are back for this team. They feel like Philly has a lot to work on at the half.
That's right. Titans taking them to task currently, but our Payload and Escort maps are just around the corner. There might be a chance here for Philly to make some ground back. They like their map 5s just because they often do well in the later part of the series. More to come. Halftime. We're coming at you right here. We'll have things broken down. We'll be back in a second.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile. It's the match of the week, and the league's top team came to play today after a very tight match on Busan. Vancouver reestablishes dominance and is up 2-0 over the Fusion at the half. Welcome back into the Blizzard Arena. Crowd, how we doing? It's Sunday morning, but we've got some good games already. I got Bren, I've got Sideshow.
And we saw a new face for Vancouver, an old familiar face for our first 3 stages. The first appearance now in stage 4. What do we see from So-Min Soo?
Yeah, it was really interesting, actually, and it shows me that the Vancouver Titans are still experimenting with the meta, right? Because normally you would run Janu in that position, but they chose to go with Azaria. It was really tough for them on Busan. It was back and forth the whole way.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I'm a little bit concerned, but that they might try and run it again. I feel like it worked this first time because Philadelphia Fusion are kind of one of our weaker teams in the league. If they try that again against one of the stronger teams, I don't think they're going to be seeing the same result.
Keep Janu in.
Keep Janu in.
Yeah,
right, keep the
so.
Diva.
I
Diva
think so.
over Zarya. Hey, you did 3,100 more damage. Maybe that's not enough. But we do know we have 2 of our top 5 T-Mobile MVP candidates playing in this one. So you know what that means, guys? It's a great time to do our T-Mobile MVP checkpoint. That's right, we're checking in on all of the action. Now, this season, you can vote for your T-Mobile MVP on Twitter using the hashtag OWLMVP and the player of your choice, or through the voting system right here on Twitch.tv. Now, the winner will be decided by votes as well as ballots from media members, coaches, casters, and analysts, and we'll announce the winner right here during the season playoffs inside the Blizzard Arena. So let's get to know our MVP candidates a little bit better. In the running this season are Sinatra from the Shock. We've got Janu, of course, from the Titans, Super from the Shock, Twilight, and Gushue. Today, we've got a little trivia to get to know our 5 players a little bit better. Are you guys ready?
I love trivia.
I love trivia. Everyone loves trivia. Let's get it going right now. First question. Let's start with Sinatra. Sinatra leads every single OWL player in which stat?
Already know this one.
A, hero damage. B, final blows. C, average energy. Or D, fewest deaths.
I'll let you take it away.
Oh, you'll let me take it?
Yeah, because I already know the answer.
Oh, gracious. I think it must be hero damage, right? The guy was an absolute nut in stage 1 and 3.
Is it right? Is it right? Ding,
I
ding, ding. I heard a ding. That feels like a win to me. Let's do it. I love it. Nice. Let's go to the next one. Going over to the Titan side of things. Janu is tied for the most elims in a single life by a diva this season. How long was his elimination streak? 25, 29, 27, or 31?
This one's for you. I'm not taking this one. I got the easy one first.
Bren, come on.
I'm going to go with B, 27.
You're wrong.
Okay.
You're very wrong.
Cool.
It was 31, Bren.
31.
The biggest number on that board. I like it. I like it. Back to the Shock. Let's go with Super here. He leads all main tank players in which stat? You ready for these? Is it A, hero damage? Is it B, final blows? C, damage blocked? Or D, Earth Shatter efficiency?
It's definitely not C.
I don't think it's Earth Shatter efficiency either. I think it's probably hero damage done.
Hero damage. I'll take that.
It's B, baby, final blow. Super, the finisher. Up next, we're going to the supports. Let's talk about my man Twilight, right? He's on the stage for the Vancouver Titans, and this guy is an elite of his own. Let's take a look at some of the numbers here. Twilight leads the league in hero damage and team fight win percentage on which hero? Is it A, Ana, B, Zenyatta, C, Moira, his best, or D, Baptiste?
This is yours.
Me again.
Yeah, it's
I
your,
mean,
it's your
last
question.
time was combined effort. Why am I?
No, it wasn't.
putting
Last
a lot
time I
of
had
pressure on
Brent,
my
I was
shoulders
wrong.
here.
Leads the league in hero damage and team fight win rate on
Sada!
A, Ana is incorrect. It's Zenyatta.
You go baited.
You're doing terrible. All right, last but not least, finish strong here, guys. We're talking about the main tank for the Hangzhou Spark. Gushue leads all main tanks in ult efficiency on which of these amazing heroes? Is it A, Winston, B, Reinhardt, C, Orisa, or D, the Great Ball?
This is so unbelievably easy.
It must be.
And it's your question.
Yeah,
Why am I getting the hard
one?
ones?
Thank you. It's got to be Winston. It actually has to be Winston.
Survey says it's A, Winston. You
right,
did
okay.
it. You did it, guys.
Go.
2 out of 5. Not bad. Great job here
We know a lot
on the
about
stage,
Not
friend.
bad, not great.
But we need our fans to help us out, guys. Get to the polls right now. They are open. Be sure to get your votes in using the hashtag OWLMVP on Twitter or vote right here on Twitch.tv. Thanks so much for joining us for our T-Mobile MVP checkpoint. But before we go, guys, I got to ask you one more question. What's going to happen in the second half of this match? We've got Philly. We've got Vancouver. Philly fighting for top 6. Vancouver could lock up the #1 spot in the Pacific with a win today. Do they get it done?
I think Vancouver are going to lock up that Pacific Division title. I think they're going to be our #1 seed overall as well eventually. I mean, they're a fantastic team. They've been dominant the whole season. They look like they're going to be able to wrap up this series as well.
Yeah. I mean, as much as I want Philadelphia to win, I think any signs of life for them would be fantastic at this point, especially as they're heading into the playoffs. it's just not really looking likely, and it's unfortunate as well. They would have locked in their top 12 spot if they. Well, I say I'm talking like they've already lost, but
there's still hope.
Still hope. There is still hope, but it's looking unlikely right now. Vancouver Titans, they seem to have found their feet.
And I think one thing to keep in mind if you're a Philly fan, every map matters. Look at that map count. Currently -3, could be -5 unless they pick up a win in the second half. That's coming up after the break.
They don't just play for a team. They play for every fan, every rival, every moment, every match. And when everyone watching expects the best, they perform with the best.
The Philadelphia Fusion have a chance to send a message by taking down the top team in the league. The Titans will be crowned Pacific Division champions in the season playoffs with a win against the Fusion.
Can they get that win today?
Fusion, Titans, match of the week.
So far, ladies and gentlemen, our match of the week has been pretty one-sided on the scoreboard. There's been a lot of brawling in map number 2, but it looked like Vancouver was never really not in control.
No, Philly really has not looked great in this series in a scenario where it's been like a must-win for them. They're not really a must-win, but it is a win that gets them into the top 12, secures a spot in the postseason, at least in the play-ins. They have not really brought it today.
They're up against a juggernaut. An absolute titan of our up against. Yeah, I didn't mean to do that.
I like how you played it off like you didn't mean to do that.
I didn't.
You did.
Why would I go for such a low-hanging fruit? That doesn't even work. Sometimes my lexicon gets a little bit limited.
Yeah.
Regardless, they're up against a formidable foe, and you know, maybe even them. Realistically, we're going in saying this is going to be a difficult match to win. We need to maybe look to other matches to secure our way in. Repel subs in for Slime here, which is a flex support coming in for, well, a main support player, I guess you could say.
This tells you they want to play like maybe like on a Zen, maybe they want to play on a Batiste or like Zen and Batiste. So it's a little bit of a change out here for Blizzard World, which will be map number 3 in the set. Vancouver experimenting more with their roster and players than they have over the last few weeks. I think kind of taking the NYXL approach, right? Trying some different players, moving some players around.
That's the NYXL approach, yes.
Looks like the Titans at the start, they'll have the Zen with the Batiste in play.
The Titans have room to experiment and can afford to lose a couple of games here, although I'm sure that their pursuit of excellence would mean that it's not something they really want to risk doing. Maybe they can do both. Maybe they can experiment and get W's. We're going to start the attacking side of the map here, and you'll notice that both teams right now have gone for two flex support heroes as we consider them. Well, that definition is becoming murkier and murkier as we go. Zenyatta on the Titans attacking roster here with Hanzo for Stitch.
So you bring the Hanzo in here for some more long-range damage on offense. So they'll also be running Janu on the Roadhog, which played a lot of the Zarya, Diva in the previous match. So someone's sorry. Right now, Stitch just poking. He's had himself a pretty good series, by the way, whether it be the Reaper or the Sombra in the previous match.
Yeah, head scratcher as to why maybe it took so long for us to see him in this role, but the Titans...
Hurek was doing work on the Widowmaker early on, but once they had to move away from Widowmaker comps, he wasn't really getting the job done.
Stitch demonstrating a lot of flexibility in his hero form. Hold hook, they catch repel. That'll be enough to force the Titans back there. Okay, they'll be happy with that kill, but it won't amount to much. As soon as Philly realize they're losing a player, they double down on the aggression, really push the Titans back out of their territory.
Yeah, so Philly gets a fight win early on. Boombox is a nice biotic grenade, connects 2 players. So you start to build some ultimates here for the Fusion.
He's had some big nades this match, Matt. The one on Hanamura from the high ground on defense was also very nice.
Now you don't have to worry about Janu playing the Diva with a defense matrix in play. You can land those biotic grenades down
sleeping
rather easily. I think the more interesting thing for playing the Zen is that'll be Haxel getting kicked off there by Carpe, but playing the Zen with the Batiste on offense, you don't have like the Lucio for the speed boost to get through some of these choky areas. Makes it a little bit easier for somebody like Carpe to just come over the wall, land a headshot onto somebody, just like we saw.
Carpe gets extra time to take these pot shots, which is just as well because Hanzo wouldn't exactly call it a ridiculous rate of fire unless he's using storm arrows. He predicted that hold quite well. Leaps back as it comes around the corner, prevents him from surely being taken down.
And also with Zen on offense here, if you use the Transcendence, they're going to be sitting up on the high ground with a biotic grenade. You may not get any great use out of it.
Sato got blown up, and as soon as that amplification matrix came up, and here's the power of Zenyatta combined with Batiste, man. Those orbs already hit hard enough as it is, but through an amplification matrix, it's 70.
They ran.
And 75 times 2, I mean, you're only doing more than 100 damage.
Well, yeah, you shoot through the amp matrix with a Hanzo and a Zen, all the shielding is going to be gone rather quickly, that's exactly what happens there for the Titans. They use a Transcendence towards the end. So now they will get the payload. It'll be just Twilight who will be on the payload as they unlock it. You can have everybody push up here as you want to control some of this high ground.
For a moment there, it looked as if Stitch was considering the Dragon Strike. He had a Sonic Arrow in place. He's going to replace that. Sato on top of the wall here. No great danger to him at the moment. But you see how quickly these tanks can be removed with his damage boosting abilities. CQO, he popped out of Ice Block just as Stitch had an arrow sent straight for him. It's almost like that was a cold shot by Stitch. It's not good.
I think this is the Vancouver Titans team you expected to see in this stage.
Yeah.
It's Haxel now with a Blizzard. You can use the Blizzard here to just kind of push it over the line.
Stitch got ahead of himself and got ahead of the shield. Carpe finding his head. Carpe be quite effective here. 3 of those final blows for him so far. Oh, Blizzard on top of the supercharger. Now Boombox is caught by that one. Nice immortality field thrown down by Neptuno in such a position that it's hard for the Titans to remove it. Quite clever. And now the Philly Fusion are given an opportunity to strike back with their own Blizzard. It works out very well. Great immortality field.
Last few kills here going over to Philly as it just Stitch who's up for the Titans, but still the card gets so close to getting towards point B. So now all you have is Janu's Whole Hog. Mage Whole Hog players back off of the point. You're probably looking at a push though for the Titans where you're just trying to get like the Dragon Strike out. Maybe they use a Nano Boost as well. Just kind of get the ultimates back in your team's favor.
I think this hero suits Neptuno quite well, the Batiste. Play with a storied history in other shooter games like Counter-Strike. Professional in that game for a while, so probably feels a little bit more interactive than Mercy.
Also, I mean, every time he plays Mercy and uses Valkyrie, doesn't heal, he just goes for kills anyway. May as well just play Batiste.
The kind of player that he is. Although it works out more often than not. He calls for Nano Boost. Anyway, here's a Dragon Strike. This is going to force the Titans back. It won't necessarily split them up, but it does open an opportunity for Carpe to find Repel. The hook in on Poco. Immortality Field. Great placement there once more for Neptuno. That's so cheeky. Poco should, by all rights, have died there.
And I do wonder for the Titans how removing Slime affects the calling and just management of the game for this team, because he's somebody who's always been in. Like every time they've thrown Repel in, it's been for Twilight when they have that flex support switch off. But now they want to play two supports who I guess you kind of can categorize. Well, Batiste, I don't know if you would categorize him as a flex support, but I think he has so many offensive capabilities you need to be able to shoot like a flex support to use it. It'll be an Matrix here for Philly. They blow up this Maywall, they're able to get some kills on through.
Wall came down quickly, but the wall came to the Titans enough time to drop off the high ground. They still lost a player though, and that's to be expected. There's no anticipating the flurry of damage that can come at you after that Amp Matrix is thrown down. It's the same with Supercharger, right? It's about like trying to surprise your enemies with like huge amounts of burst damage that, given the game state mere seconds prior, they would not have expected.
Now only 36 seconds on the clock here. But will look like a good push from the Titans. It's going to be a Dragon Strike from both teams. Could end up them stalled out before completing the second point.
Huxel in a great spot up here on the high ground. Throws the Blizzard down. And everyone thought that was safe behind Sato's shield, but that's exactly where the Blizzard was placed. EQO won't be getting away with that one. And now Huxel can chase for some of these kills. Holt's thrown out. Boombox caught in that. Neptuno finally run down. Boombox will try and get away. Huxel may have to let him.
That's the exact reason why you see both those teams constantly fight over the high ground. Like just constantly just pushing each other back, forward, and whatnot. As soon as the high ground control goes, the Titans Haxel can get in a great position, drop down a Blizzard, which unlocks that second point for Vancouver. It was a good defense though from Philly. They were able to get a few holds there. So now it's only a minute on the clock really for the Titans to complete the match. We've seen the Titans go on crazy runs to do this, but still it would be a good defensive stand from Philly.
I mean, they have a Supercharger and an Amplification Matrix, the Titans do. Philly have also banked a lot of ultimates themselves. Cleverly saving ults once they realized that they were in trouble in the previous fight.
Sato can pick off first.
Yeah, really it just means that Philly have to give some free card progress now, and they only get one fight. They may have gotten two.
But now you have to give up cart progress. You're going to be walking into Supercharger, right? So now you're going to have to hide a little bit. This is going to be even more cart progress. Dragon Strike, Amp Matrix, like...
That's a nasty Dragon Strike. Neptuno was stuck. He couldn't get out of spawn. It's either stay in spawn or submit to the Dragon. This has all gone wrong for Philly, man. It all started with losing Starter at the start of that fight. Not a good sign. Nanoboost had to be used on Carpe there, but Philly, it slips through their fingers like the sands of time. They were doing so well.
Yeah.
And then it fell apart. The Vancouver Titans get the map done, and they get it done, Matt, with 26 seconds left, which is decent.
Yeah, so that one kill that they get on Sato allows them to complete the map with that time in the bank. A lot of ultimates to push Philly back.
It's important.
Bet they wish they could have replayed that towards the end. We'll see Philly on offense after this.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile.
Let them up.
Cease your resistance. Cease your resistance.
Let them up. I'm on fire.
That's it. Philly fans around the country and even world sending their energy out to try and get their team to a home appearance at our season finals, our grand finals, of course, which will be happening later on this year in Philadelphia, baby.
I think a positive for Philadelphia Fusion fans, seeing that is that this team can once they get in to the playoffs, they can make some
different
noise.
Team.
Yeah, at least you keep saying that. We'll have to see.
But it's because I'm a Philly fan. I have no choice.
It'll be the Titans now on defense. They'll be running the Hanzo Mei. They'll have Twilight play the Ana, so they play Ana Batiste on defense. They play the Zen with the Batiste on offense. It'll be Zen Batiste for the Philadelphia Fusion on their offense, so a lot like how we saw from Vancouver. You use the Ant Matrix, throw the Zenyatta Orbs on through. With the Hanzo, you're able to burst down the shields pretty quick.
A countdown to the grand finals. Philadelphia Fusion trying to secure their spot in the play-ins. Crack being in that top bracket of teams. Out the gates we go with the Philadelphia Fusion. They also have the Zenyatta Batiste combo. So again, that's that amplification matrix doubly scary. Oh, big biotic grenade, 4 players hit with that. But look at where that immortality field is placed. There's no Hacksaw just blast off.
Yeah, that Hacksaw.
He just blasted off.
Yeah, that's the halt hook combo that comes in there. Damage from the Roadhog, and then final blow there from Boombox. Now you can start to move up. They don't have that Mei in place, so they can't use the wall. It's just the bumper shield they're going to be hiding behind.
Not going to have to be enough. Boombox picked off. This is going to be a repeat of what we saw in the last round. A Philly player picked off at the start of an important fight. The answer looks to be yes. You don't need a magic 8-ball to tell you that Philly have just let this one get away from them once more.
Every time Philly gets an advantage, they just give it away. That's like a few times so far this series. Not Boombox, but a few times they got early picks, and you see both supports die, you see EQO die. When you play against the Titans, and this is kind of you don't want to call this a playoff game, but it kind of has that playoff type of atmosphere with 2 top teams. You can't have those type of mistakes here.
Really on the attack though, so no real harm done. They do lose, honestly, they lose a lot of time though. They lost over a minute for that one push getting staggered out to the degree that it did. They can't afford that to happen again. Ditch. I see barrier, I shoot barrier. A mantra of a Hanzo player. Okay, oh, they hit him with a biotic grenade. What a setup from Twilight. EQO is able to fire back though, getting rid of Janu. But that immortality field plus shield means that the Titans at least have a couple moments to take bread. Another fat biotic grenade. Oh man.
That has been a few there. That one, it was a biotic grenade and then a halt into the Dragon Strike. So I feel like Bumper's had one of his better series on the Orisa, being able to land these halts consistently.
Also not getting picked up or getting taken by surprise. You need to have a fair bit of foresight. Great Blizzard. Fantastic Blizzard on the point. Rappel's going to be caught by that one. Immortality field, though. Look at it. Yeah. Well placed down by Rappel. Eventually it's removed, though. That is an incredible Blizzard placement. Nothing the Titans could really do. Good job, Philly.
Yeah, that'll be a point take. Sound like the coach of Philly there. Nice job, guys.
What? It just
that'll be a point take for the Philadelphia Fusion.
I have said I've been just as complimentary of their opponents in this match.
Oh man, you can never take a joke. You're always so serious. So
that doesn't sound like me.
Oh yeah, no, it's more like me. I'm always serious.
No,
so
very sensible man, mate.
Yeah, that's definitely true. So Sato will have the superchargers. Really, all you got here for Philly is if you're Vancouver, you probably just Blizzard this corner. Maybe you Amp Matrix and you feel like, yep, that'll be Blizzard and Amp Matrix, and you can win the fight off of the back of these, or just prevent them from moving the cart forward. So,
all right, well, immortality fields get taken down, but again, EQO finds that mid-fight pick. He looks so good on the main, especially this round.
Yeah, they get the pick on the Janu yet again.
Twilight, don't you dare. You ban! Oh, okay. Now he's in trouble.
Yeah, now he's super dead as the Maywall comes in, not able to get out as Carpe lands the shots towards the end there. Now the cart starts to get rolling for Philly, and this is where Philly was able to stop Vancouver for a very long time.
Like getting good use out of the high ground. They're trying to take it away from Vancouver now as well. They value it very Very great.
EQO used to Maywall there. He's trying to boost some players up to the high ground. Not everybody was on the same page.
They had to drop down.
Just Sato was up there. Yeah, they had to drop.
Oh, that Dragon Strike.
That's really good.
No time to respond for the Titans. It came through and claimed Repel in the blink of an eye. Carpe able to double down on their bumper now, which means the Titans might actually just get boomed into the stratosphere on this part of the map. I didn't really see them being able to hold here. They got a couple players remaining. Stitch. Okay, one more of those, and now we're talking.
They might be able to now as you get an ice block on the point here from Paxol. He's going to Blizzard as you have players coming off the spawn. And that'll probably just force Philly to back up for a second. Now you get Bumper back in play, you get Repel and Janu.
Amplification Matrix thrown down. Carpe trying to stay well clear of that. And yeah, Bumper returning to the fight. The Blizzard bought enough time for the Titans to get there.
And when EQO falls there, he has a Blizzard of his own, so you're not able to use it there, which would have pushed Philly surely over the line, being able to get point B. So a big pick off from Stitch. This will be a Dragon that comes in from Carpe. Allows him to move the cart forward.
You just let Shenron sleep for just a little while, guys. Stitch takes down Boombox. Blizzard thrown in though. He doesn't want to stay in ice block too long. He wants to capitalize now. Repel throws down that immortality field and it looks good. Does keep Repel alive. Not so much for Janu though. Stitch and Carpe. It is the Hanzo's wreaking havoc right now. Stitch has the high ground. Carpe's forced to play from below. An amplification Matrix though doesn't get much, and Neptuno just got.
He doesn't get much because Haxall puts up a great wall. Behind that wall that he puts up,
he got 2 kills with the storm arrow.
Believe is now Carpe's turned back, and he's picked up 2. But it's a Carpe against both tanks. He's not going to be able to just burn down a Roadhog. End an Orisa that quick. He's got to wait.
2v3 now. Philly need to wait for those reinforcements, and they are running out of time.
The Carpe has 13 final blows. The next highest on Philly is EQO at 9, but Stitch on the other side is 14. The next highest would be Bumper with 9. So both Hanzos playing really strong. That sniper roll, that's an early pickoff. Halt hook set up on Poco as he gets taken out. So now we're down to 30 seconds on the clock. Philly's going to be walking into a Blizzard. They switch off of Roadhog and go to D.Va. You need the D.Va here. Potentially eat those halts have been causing trouble. Also to eat this Blizzard that could come through.
To the low ground go the Titans. They actually let Philly set up, but Philly don't want it either. They know they need to try and play around the corner. No, Poco's asleep. Welcome to the Twilight Zone, buddy. How are you gonna fight now? 5 seconds left. He's got to rejoin the rest of his team. That has cost the Fusion though, and now they're not in a position to dally any longer. Dragon Strike comes through from both sides. Immortality Field used for the Vancouver Titans. An Ice Wall also thrown up in front. There's Janu, first casualty. Haxel now has to go for the Blizzard, looking to try and catch Sato in there with the Transcendence. Is there for Boombox? It don't matter. Another Bionic Brain from Twilight. Huge performance from the other player on the Titans, and he has pretty much sealed the deal. Made it impossible for Boombox to keep his teammates alive, and they can't get to the cart. The Vancouver Titans secure the championship in the Pacific Division.
And that is a rough go for Philly. They're able to take point A. They start to move, make some progress to point B. They get very close to unlocking it, but Vancouver's defense just too strong. Vancouver, they get the win in this series. They have that 3-0 advantage. Can they get a 4-0? It would be brutal for Philly in terms of their map differential, right? Going into potentially trying to get that top 12. We'll find out if Vancouver is able to get it done right after this.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Into the iris.
And all the objectives. Come join me.
See through the dragon's eyes.
That's right. And with the victory here, the Vancouver Titans have at least sorted themselves in that top echelon, that top 6, getting towards the playoffs. And Philadelphia is going to be absolutely wild later this year. It was New York last year, and this year promises to be even better. Fantastic city. I had the opportunity to visit it last year, and well, their home team, they would love to have them there. But this is not a match that the Fusion can really use to grapple their way into that top 12. Will have to come elsewhere.
It's been tough for the Philly Fusion as Carpe, that one, puts down 40% of the team damage, is not enough to get it done.
He went absolutely mental. On the side of the Titans, though, as well, it's great to have our insiders on the ground because our friend Danny Lim has gone for recon and found out a little bit about the Titans' strategies this match.
Thanks, guys. Vancouver is currently leading the series 3-0. During the halftime, I got to talk to the team, the Titans, and asked them why they chose to run Seominsu during the first map. And the team told me having Zarya in their composition would give them some extra damage and sustainability. The team did note, however, that their strategy didn't work as well as they anticipated because they only had a day to practice with it. We'll see if they try this again throughout the whole stage, or maybe even for the last map. But for now, Mitch and Matt, back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Danny. And it was essentially, as we surmised, you know, that extra consistent damage from Zarya, especially late in the fight. We have noticed that these fights in this meta are reminiscent of the 3-3 fights that go longer. That's where Zarya just gets better and better.
And I think with Orisa, like when you have that Orisa on Orisa battle, you want to always be the one that's like moving forward, pushing the other one back, gaining space. And I feel like with these Zarya in play, more damage on the side, so like let's say the D.Va or the Orisa themselves, you're able to push the other team's Orisa back, allows your Mei to get more aggressive, your Reaper as well. You can bubble either of those, you put down even more damage, so makes sense there. Carpe plays the Widowmaker here on defense for the Philly Fusion, at least at the beginning. You have Repel stay in, so that tells you the Titans want to keep the Batiste in play here.
Yeah, quite often for these payload-oriented maps, this one being escort. Also, you can do that, so that's pretty nice. Twilight almost just sconning Carpe, giving him a free inverted Mohawk.
And I think here where the Lucio's not as necessary, you're not going to be running, let's say, a Mercy in these scenarios. The Batiste really good to get the high ground on offense or defense. With the Exo jump, it's Carpe lands a headshot there on the Twilight.
There it is.
You're able to get really good value out of the Batiste here. So I think you're going to see both teams kind of commit to the hero for, I don't want to say the entirety of the map, things can change, but I think most of the map you're going to see the Batiste.
Another nice biotic grenade for Boombox there to start that fight off. This is pretty normal. Hold close. The Roadhog in there, extra damage. As the Amp Matrix goes up in a hole. Carpe. One wall stacked on top of another. Oh, wow, that is classic Carpe for you. It's not being counter-sniped as well, so bear that in mind. It's just a stitch on Hanzo. Carpe essentially has rule of the roost. Oh, man. That is a body shot in fairness, but... Okay!
Yeah.
Is he back? Is he finally back?
Look, I don't even know if Carpe's ever necessarily been gone. I think it's just you have not seen great performances as a team. I mean, right there, you know, they end up winning Blizzard World. His Hanzo play is nuts. 40% of overall team damage for a map is pretty crazy. You see him coming out, nailing some shots here on the Widowmaker.
Stitch just had to switch.
This is why you had Hureg in the lineup, right? To play this Widowmaker battle against him. Now you have to have Stitch pick it up.
Blizzard comes out, that placement, unbelievably good. 1, 2, 3 people are frozen by that one. EQO again, nails it. Carpe trying to play this off angle here, but he gets run down by Bumper. He will return. Poker getting hooked there is less than ideal. He gets Jarnu anyway.
Now Stitch actually is behind them on top of Big Earl's, the gas station here.
Yeah, but the cat's out of the bag. I don't really... Stitch doesn't... Oh, that is... That's a great
Juno
shot.
tries it, and he's going to get out.
No, surely not. Oh, he gets away! That's incredible. Stitch will play the low ground for now, but...
That's been,
try and get an air shot.
That has been the most Philly, like if you were to just explain how Philly's played throughout the whole series, it's the perfect clip. They're rolling, they're getting a lot of picks. The Stitch gets behind one pick. They end up using a nano boost on the Sado there during that, and things are just kind of, now the card's been moving here for the Titans.
Stitch goes to that infra site. Carpe had already used his. I mean, he's in a perfect sniper perch now. Just bullying the heck out of Poco. Axel, that Blizzard went down a long range here, and you can see Stitch is just chilling. Oh, man. Didn't even need to get that kill. We got it anyway.
Just that one pick on a Neptuno. it just sends that whole offense
spiraling.
Yeah, just spiraling in Vancouver's favor. So we can take a look here from Janu's POVs. Lands a hook on the high ground, using the whole hog, knocks Poco completely out of the way.
He doesn't even see
Yeah.
targets. That Blizzard was very nice by Hexal.
So check this out, they've used the May wall to get some players up on the high ground here, so you have good sight lines for your Widowmaker.
Philly have to filter through on that left side.
They're trying to make a play for the cart here, Philly, because they know that everybody's playing up on the high ground.
Yeah. They don't have a Lucio though, so they can't really do it quickly. Now they're sort of, well, they're fluffing around here on the high ground. Neptuno is going to wrap around. He's actually trying to help Carpe get damage done.
Yeah, they put down a solo Ant Matrix for Carpe on the backside.
Oh, I mean, oh, it doesn't matter! The headshot comes from Stitch!
And then now it's Neptuno trying to take a 1v1 against the Widowmaker yet again.
He realizes that after the element of surprise had gone, it was not worth. Immortality Field will be removed in just a moment. Janu, flank, hooks first, looking for Poco, gets him 2 scrap-gone shots. And that second checkpoint comes up there pretty comfortably. Poco must be hating there. He was actually taking a breather while he got hooked in.
And since that beginning hold, I mean, right there from point A to point B, really quick for the Vancouver Titans. Neptuno switch. They'll play Lucio here. They're going to have Carpe switch off of Widowmaker and go over to Reaper. So, I mean, you weren't getting a ton with the Widowmaker. They're just going for more card control to kind of get the Titans to switch off of some of this.
It means Philly want to try and play that upper level there as much as they possibly can on defense. So look at this. They managed to circumvent most of the Titans and get straight onto the payload. Haxal tried to go for a Blizzard to shut that down. Poco ate it up.
Well, also with this comp as well, it'll make Twilight's job a little bit tougher playing Zenyatta. They just picked up one. Are they going to flip this fight
This
as
is
well?
bizarre! It's the Titans just doing what they do. EQO's having to take bumper down, but as the Blizzard clears, it's 3 players for the Titans left on the payload. Philly went for a risky flank man, a big commitment to try and stop the Titans in their tracks. Again, it doesn't work.
And I like the switches from the Philadelphia Fusion. You bring the Lucio and the Reaper in because it puts pressure on the cart, where Twilight's just been kind of sitting there, moving the cart solo for a while, as Zenyatta put some pressure on him, but you're not even able to get the pickup onto him. This will be a supercharger from Bumper, as Vancouver getting very close to completing the map.
Carpe just teleports directly into the backline with a nano boost and gets rid of Stitch immediately. He was actually almost frozen by Haxal, who was able to get away in time, but on this occasion, Janu connects with the hook. And that is a nice block to EQO deep in enemy territory once more. Again, Philly try and play aggressively on their defense. And again, it may well backfire. Oh, it's definitely going to backfire.
Yeah, it definitely is.
I'll make
you can see now the bold prediction there from you is a Blizzard coming through now for Haxal, as they may be able to put this away with almost a little bit under 2 minutes. That'll be the kill on a Carpe. Blizzard on the cart.
Zane trying to roll in there. No dice. Boombox forced to fade forward. EQO makes a nice ice statue in midair. Now it's going to be Boombox and Neptuno with the sound barrier just to try and hold on, but that immortality field is never going to get taken down, and Boombox has to try and operate outside of it. A very strong ability when you're at the enemy team's trying to stall back that immortality field. They can't get any picks. Burst damage doesn't mean nearly as much, and there it is, the Titans. Oh yeah, that look on Twilight's face. It's like, don't at me, fam. Trying to flank, trying to jump on our back line.
And for you, who does this series tell you more about? The Titans, like adjusting and trying to figure this meta out, or Philly?
Tells me more. This map tells me much more about Philly.
Just the series in general?
Yeah, I think so. Especially the way that they're conducting their defenses. Cast your minds back to when we did have the 3-3 meta. Philly were really good at playing defensively with Winston. Where a lot of teams still prefer the Reinhardt, or something else entirely. They love to play aggressive, dive-oriented defenses where they would take the fight to the enemy. Now, it seems like that inclination still exists, even in a metagame that has changed, but you see how risky it is if you walk headfirst into a Blizzard, or you get walled off, or someone gets picked. And that's what happened multiple times. First at Big Girls, and then we saw it happen in the last phase of the map there, where they tried to go for a gambit, but they gave their positioning away.
It's a brutal series for Philly, because it's one where I guess they'll look back on, and obviously it'll be a 4-0. Depending on how this works out, but it looks like it's
looking like
4-0.
Yes.
And you had a lot of opportunities. Like, how many of these fights where Philly starts off really well? They get a pick off. They have a good use of an ultimate. and they still end up losing the fight. Like, that'll be, I think, the most frustrating thing for Philly to look back, whether it's a 4-0 or 3-1, and say, hey, the first map comes down to 1 control point. It's really close. The Hanamura wasn't really that close. Blizzard World, maybe you could have made it a game. You had some plays towards the end that didn't go your way, but this could have been a much closer series. But I think come playoff time, you can't have these type of games if you're Philly, or else you're going to be going home pretty early.
Shots fired early. Stitch. EQO gets hit with a sleep dart from Twilight way downtown. No, it's a matter, I guess, of trying to overwhelm the attackers. Vancouver Titans just trying to spray down these shields. Oh, man. There's a lot of damage there. Carpe and Neptuno finding picks, and now the Titans are out of there. They can't really hold this for too much longer. Oh, I don't think Poker wanted that pick. He's now at risk of Stitch picking him off. Look how low he went. Now, if he hooks the Hanzo there, he's not nearly as much at risk of dying.
Hans does a lot of damage in chunk damage. So Boombox will take out Stitch from range. Good pick off as they have to use the immortality field to try and keep Janu alive. Twilight falls, so Philly keep the cart moving here. Stitch already, though, with a Dragon Strike. Same with Carpe, so you'll have both of these Dragon Strikes coming in. Poco with a Whole Hog here. So doing a lot of work on the Roadhog early on. Be able to push players back.
Carpe and Stitch are very even on damage. 55 damage separates them as of right now. It's obviously now changed. Dragon Strike in. Immortality Field had to be used just for a repel as he was caught behind the ice wall. Carpe now trying to split up the team. He actually pops up in between Bumper and his backline, and Stitch just wrecks him. Storm Arrow on a Carpe, and Philly back to spawn with you.
They do get a lot of good cart progress, so very close to taking point A, but now they're going to have to get around this first corner yet again. And
you don't want to lose any fights until at least the next phase of the map here, Matt. When you've got such a time to chase.
This also, I think, is going to be a odder part of the map to use Amp Matrix. Like, where do you decide to use it if you're Neptuno? You use it coming around the corner here, everybody can hide. You use it behind the last corner, a lot of players can hide around this corner of Big Earls. There's not really like a huge open space to be able to use it. Like, Repel has a much better use of it here than Neptuno would.
High perch here. I mean, the Payload's in an awkward spot. If Philly want to move it, they have to cross some open area while the Titans occupy the high ground on the other side.
And they know they have a supercharger and an Amp Matrix, so what are you going to do? You can't just kind of run through the middle as you lose that. And this is one in the trader is going to favor the Vancouver Titans here. Sure, you lose Stitch, but they're going to lose their main tank. You drop down your own Amp Matrix. If you're the Vancouver Titans, Neptuno actually used his there as well, so you don't really get anything out of it.
I mean, Neptuno ran out of Big Earls at that Titans formation and then just plonked an amplification matrix there. Super aggressive, characteristically so, but it got him killed.
You already lost Sato as well, so.
Well, that's right. Sato got walled off, and Poker was sleeping on the other side of it, so like nothing went right. Twilight is doing the Sandman crowd.
Here's the thing too. Blizzard for both teams. It's a bit easier for the Titans to land one because look, they're up on the high ground. Ichigo's not going to throw his Blizzard up here on the high ground. Like, they're going to have to try and force the Titans down in some way. Maybe it's getting on top of Big Earls here, using a supercharger and trying to poke down some damage. Probably their best option. If they do connect to a Janu, maybe now they're able to get a Blizzard off.
That's the target they least want though, Matt. He's able to shrug off the damage and just take a breather. The Dragon Strike caught Poco as well. And that Transcendence, God, it feels so bad. And Juno won't get away either here, and this is it. It's time for Philly to stand and deliver. And by that I don't mean walk up and use Amplification Matrix. Well, they need to win this next fight.
You're going to walk into a Blizzard here. Carpe is going to have the Dragon Strike. You will have Supercharger, but if you're all frozen, it doesn't really do much. You have an opportunity here if you can use the Blizzard first for Vancouver to keep them off the point completely.
Twilight. And Busan was Haxel. He has so many frozen
people. They're not going to touch, yeah.
Oh, dear. Now, Philly, they're done. Barely. It's just Sato here on the payload now. Carpe is going to do some target practice and think about his next matchup. Because right now, the end of the line for the Philadelphia Fusion. And the prophecy that was promised, the Vancouver Titans to come to the Overwatch League and dominate, it has come to pass. They are your Pacific Division champions, and you best believe they'll be a big factor in the playoffs to come.
Janu has a very good mount. 19 final blows, 34 limbs on the Roadhog. really for Philly, it's a little bit of a dud of a series. You lose 4-0, you lose in a lot of ways, a lot of fights where you kind of gave it up. And it's good to see the Vancouver Titans. They seem pretty happy again. You know, it seemed like after that last loss, they seemed down on themselves. They seem much more like the Vancouver Titans of old today.
Now I feel Philly, and I know how, you know, the vibe in this team is right. Even if it's Vancouver, this is an unacceptable loss. Yes. They are not going to be happy about this. If they have any aspirations to be competitive in the playoffs or even get there, they cannot be letting series go like this.
Well, especially because a lot of other teams in the league are having close games against the Titans. London takes them to Game 5. They lose to the Justice 4-0, and then you can't come in and get a map. It's a brutal loss for Philly.
We're going to head now down to the floor, though, and get some closing words here from Danny Janu.
Mitch and Matt, thank you very much. Everybody make some noise for Janu and Vancouver Titans. 4-0. Amazing job as always. Now, with today's win, the Vancouver Titans have officially clinched the Pacific Division, which means that going into the season playoffs, you guys will either be the top number, you guys will be going in as a number 1 or number 2 seed. What does that mean for you and the Titans? 일단 오늘 승리 너무나 축하드리고요. 또 오늘의 승리로 인해서 밴쿠버 팀이 퍼시픽 디비전 우승자로 이제 시즌 플레이오프로 들어가게 되는데 네, 그거에 대한 좀 어떤 의미가 있을까요?
일단은 저희가 새로운 팀이었잖아요. 기존 팀이 아니라 신규 팀으로 들어왔는데 그럼에도 불구하고 저희가 이제 시즌 1위 맞나요? 네, 시즌 1위로 마무리하게 되어서 정말 기쁘고 거기다가 저희가 이제 고츠만 했다가 이제 다른 조합으로도 좋은 모습을 보여줄 수 있다는 게 좋은 것 같아요.
So because we were one of the 8 expansion teams coming into the Overwatch League this season, we're one of the new teams. So getting the Pacific Division, becoming the Pacific Division champions for the season playoffs, it has a lot of meaning, and I'm really glad that we got this. And also, not only were we good on the GOATS meta, the 3-3 meta, but it's a chance for us to really show that we could use different compositions and just overall in general that we are a really great team. Now, next question. You're one of our 5 candidates for the T-Mobile MVP. What do you call it? MVP champions? MVP, what is it? Do you guys know? MVP, T-Mobile MVP, what is it called? MVP, there you go. You're one of the 5 candidates. I'm going to actually give you this time to do some self-PR right now. 자, T-Mobile MVP 이기고 싶으시죠?
네? 뭐라고요?
MVP 된 거 이기고 싶으시죠?
네.
홍보하세요.
뭐 제가 솔직히 될지는 잘 모르겠지만 뭐 앞으로 이제 대회가 아직 좀 남았기 때문에 그동안 계속 쭉 좋은 모습 보여줘서 MVP 후보에 오른 거에 걸맞게 잘 하도록 노력하겠습니다.
So I'm not too sure if I'm going to win the T-Mobile MVP but you know, there's a couple more matches, so I'm just going to try my best and try to show as much as I can in the remaining of the matches to win the T-Mobile MVP award. Alrighty, thank you so much, Janu. Castro's back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Danny. I think Johnny needs to give himself a little bit more credit. He's actually said it before. He's like, I'm not one of the more popular players. I'm like, I mean, bro,
you're good.
You killed it in your role
you're
over the course of this season. Definitely one of the deserving individuals. So let's have a look at now how the playing field is set up after this win. The Titans be clinching, the Fusion be clenching.
Yeah,
they're at risk of falling out. You know, of this top 12. They have not secured that position.
Look, the Atlanta Reign have shown no signs of slowing down. The Guangzhou Charge as well. The Hunters, they lose to the Spark last night. I guess that's a little bit of a saving grace. So the Valiant, they could potentially win out. It is definitely dangerous for Philly. They are dropping further down. Whether you look at their schedule, they lose a bunch of Game 5s. This is a team that they're going to look back. They had the opportunity to potentially get into the top 6 and didn't do it.
Yeah, map 5s are fun. It became a Philadelphia meme, but it really hurt their map differential. Imagine, you have won more games than you've lost, but you're at a negative map differential. Let's have a look at our player of the match, presented to you by Omen by HP. Stitch today, your player of the match, looking absolutely dominant. The Reaper play on Hanamura was awesome. Really tight. He hung around on the point, stayed there. He was a big reason why they managed to take that point A. And over the course of the series, looked great.
Yeah, you see the difference that he makes in the lineup. Like, I think when they had Hureg in, they were able to play Widowmaker comps with the Genji, with Haxall, and they weren't able to really adjust to this Mei Reaper setup, but with Stitch in the lineup, he's able to play the Reaper at a high level. Also can play the Widowmaker like we saw towards the end.
Route 66 started banging Carpe out.
The Hanzo as well is very good, but the Reaper really made the difference on Hanamura.
I mean, Blizzard World was definitely, for me, like, that's where Philly were broken. Obviously, that's where the series was won, and Stitch's Hanzo there was... very, very good. Contending with Carpe, both of them were pulling off some pretty insane stuff, and I expected to see Stitch much earlier on here. One of my favorite McCree players to watch back this time on Runaway.
Yeah, and they do an interesting thing in map number 1, kind of so far or long ago, but they have Somans who come in, they play as Zarya, which I know Danny does the insider hit. Seems like a strategy they came up with recently that I would not be surprised if they go back to again.
And the Titans march on, playoff glory in their sights. The Philadelphia Fusion back to the drawing board to see if they can rally themselves for one more push to secure their spots. Coming up next, though, it's going to be quite the match, Matt. It's going to be the Washington Justice go up against the Houston Outlaws. Two teams, I mean, Washington's stonks are through the roof right now. That might be, where you want to invest. They're looking to try and make it a 7-0 stage.
Yeah, Corey has been unbelievable, same with Stratus this stage, and like you mentioned, they're going for what could be potentially like an undefeated stage for the Justice. They have been lights out in this meta.
Crazy. The fun never stops here at the Overwatch League, so stick around. We've got that match and many more coming right at you after the break.
Titans continue to dominate the Overwatch League.
And yet again, no one can bring down the Vancouver Titans. Just when we thought the balance of power was switching, they're put up against the wall, and they still triumph.
Boxel swinging away against a 2-for-1.
The question is, how do you stop these Vancouver Titans? You play almost perfectly, and you still can't pull it off.
Vancouver Titans secure the championship in the Pacific Division.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile.